Welcome to Gumball Love. I'm Melissa Ledger, professional relationship coach, creator of Gumball Love and the Back to You Academy. If you're ready to stop the cycle of toxic men, get through the breakup once and for all, and finally get back to you, you are in the right place. This journey is about healing your heart, and you are encouraged to take the pace that is just right for you. In the process, you will build a foundation of confidence and strength that will make you unshakable, I promise. So get ready to level up your mindset and your lifestyle as you awaken the seeds of greatness just waiting to burst into full bloom. Let's do this. Welcome back to another episode of Gumball Love. I'm your host, Melissa Ledger. On this podcast, we talk about Gumball Love. What is Gumball Love? It's a transactional relationship where an attention addict provokes another person to produce the type of attention desired in the moment. It took me a long time to come up with that definition. What is Gumball Love? It was like, I knew it was about attention seeking, but the transactional relationship definition, thanks to my love who helped me brainstorm this, because I wanted you to think about it in that way. And there was the answer, the gumball machine. You put the quarter in, you give them the gumball. I've been saying that over and over again, but I never thought about it as a transaction. It's weird. I've been in banking and payments as my corporate life, and it's like, it's been there the whole time, transactional. And the whole journey in this is really identifying what relationships in general are transactional and what relationships are transformational. Who's putting in quarters? Who wants gumballs? What kind of gumballs do they want? What kind of quarters are they putting in? What do I mean by, like, how are they prompt? You know, the quarter is a prompt. It's an ask. It's a request. Sometimes it's a demand. It's a solicitation. It's a little suggestion. People put quarters in different ways. Some are more subtle. Some are more direct. And our job is to identify those in every single area of our life: romantic, non-romantic, family, friends, coworkers, even in your church, wherever. There are people that are seeking attention, and there is no meaningful connection that can come from that. And when it comes to dating, I wanted to talk to you about rejection and feeling that pain of rejection because we want something so bad. You want that relationship. You want to be married. You want to have kids. You want to have that lifestyle. You're sick of the dating apps. It's like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't know why this guy acts so interested and then he freaking ghosts me. This is epidemic. And I want you to know with 100% certainty, if this is happening to you, you cannot draw the conclusion there is something wrong with you, because thinking there's something wrong with you is actually the thing wrong with you. And I know that sounds weird, but if we are walking around thinking that we're all screwed up, then that is what's going to prevent us from actually being present enough to be available enough to actually receive the real thing. Could just end the podcast right there. So I wanted to just dive into this a little bit and talk about, first of all, I want you to think about, what is this thing that I want so badly? And why do I want it so badly? So a lot of us look at, okay, I'm at this stage, I'm at this age. Whatever this age is, feels like I'm behind other people this age. I know people older than me, younger than me, that are achieving or have already achieved milestones. They've been married, they've had kids, and what is wrong with me? Why am I behind? Or why did my marriage not work out? And now I'm the divorced person. And you're always looking at the people you went to school with, the people you're working with, your family. You have a sibling that's younger than you and they got married and they seem like they're fine. Like, why am I not okay? And everybody else is okay. And so that puts a constant pressure on who's around me and why am I not at a certain place at a certain time because I didn't imagine myself being single at this age. And so that's the first thing that we start to constantly focus on. And I want you to just become aware. How much am I focusing on that I'm single and that I'm this age and that I don't have kids? So I just told a client, go get your fertility checked. Check your ovaries, check where you, just stop the fear of wondering, can you have kids? Find out. Because the not knowing, have you ever felt sick or you felt like, oh my God, I feel like I'm getting something, or you think it's something major, and then you finally go to the doctor and it's something minor, but then all of those symptoms make sense. And then you're like, oh God, that was like such a roller coaster. I do the same thing with my dogs. If my dogs are acting weird, it's like, oh God, are they going to be fine in like a couple of days? And then I'm going to waste a trip to the vet. And then I just think, you know what? Sometimes the money isn't about like, am I wasting it? Am I overreacting? The money is for my peace of mind. I don't want to go to bed tonight and think there's something wrong with my dog and I didn't do anything about it. So I'm going to go, even though it's probably nothing, I'm going to go anyway. And you just make that choice and you give yourself the peace of mind. So think about things. Those are we just did an exercise in our group call where I took them through my exercise of writing down all the things that are bothering you, all the things that you need to do and what you have control over. You have control over, you can make a doctor's appointment, you can go in, you can get the test and you can find out it's one blood test and they can tell you, yeah, you have healthy eggs and you are fertile, and they can tell you even if you're if you're very fertile or if you're still fertile, but you're kind of on the tail end, they can tell you exactly where you are. So you get a gauge on that. And let's say you're like, well, Melissa, what if I find out I'm not fertile? What if I find out I can't have babies? Well, then that would change. Like if I found out right now you can't have kids, like it's physically impossible for you to do it, then I would immediately focus on adoption. I would start researching that. And if that's not an option for you, then you can look at, there's a lot of options, but adoption, or you could look at what if you feel like the doctor's saying, maybe you need to freeze your eggs. Maybe that's your option. Maybe in vitro will be, I don't know what it is for you, but I want you to allow yourself to explore the area that is making you feel so intensely on this timeline. I've got to find somebody. So we're going out there. It's like going to the grocery store when you're starving. You make bad decisions because you're in a panic. And we don't want to be trying to meet the love of our lives in a blind panic because we're afraid that we're running out of time. Okay? So the right person, what is for you will not pass you. You know, my friend Kara from the Champagne Diet, when I reconnected with Ian, I was like having some anxiety because I knew, oh my gosh, this is a guy that I really know I could have big feelings for. And I was right. I had big feelings. And she told me that what is for you will not pass you. And I don't know if I had heard that before, but it was so nourishing to my soul in the moment because I was I had my life at such a great point. I didn't want to lose myself in someone, and I wanted to either be right or move on. And then I was worried, like, what if I reconnect with them and I lose them again? You know, we have all these worries, right? We do have all this anxiety that can be like, what if I'm not enough? What if I'm too boring? What if I'm this or too much or not enough? We're always looking at, and that's exactly what, if you go back a few podcasts, Ian said to me when I explained how we feel. He's like, oh, you feel like you're too much and you're not enough, because we're constantly judging and assessing ourselves. What did this guy think? Oh, this guy, everything was fine. And then all of a sudden he ghosted. These guys that are just acting like everything is fine and they're ghosting, everything is not fine for them. That's what we underestimate. And so when we are in such a blind panic and we aren't calm and settled and, at peace, we can't see they're panicky or frantic. I remember being able to go on dates and notice, like, I felt like I was like my dog Lucy, we have a phrase for her, she doesn't care. We're like, if Lucy wore a shirt, it would just say, I don't care. And then Charlie, my other dog's like, cares about everything. She's super high strung. She's like, she hears everything. She barks about everything. They're like total opposites. And I had like Lucy energy, the loose goose. I was just like, yeah, whatever. I didn't have that urgency anymore because I had become so peaceful about being single. I actually had become peaceful. Like if I never meet a guy, this is what I'd start to think about. If I never met a guy again, so I was turning 40, 41. I was like, even in my late 30s, I started to make peace with if I never meet somebody. Let's just say I became, in my 70s, 80s, and I never met somebody. I started looking at single people in their 70s and 80s and like, it's not that bad. Like we think it's like, oh my God, if you're single and you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, it's not that bad. You can have a great life. And I started looking at what can I do with my life? And obviously I had Gumball Love, right? And I was helping all these other girls find relationships, and my clients would get married and I would think, my clients are getting married and I'm not. So I would have those thoughts like, is there something wrong with me? But then I thought, you know what? I'm going to help enough people get what they want and I'll get what I want. I'm going to just keep putting that love out into the world. And I love children. I want children. So I just decided I'm going to be around a bunch of kids. And I coached, I taught Bible study, I babysat. I was around kids all the time. Like my 30s are full of children and in all aspects because I wanted children. And I was like, well, if I can't have kids, I'm going to take care of other people's kids. And you know what? People with kids are really happy to let you take care of them and be like, if you just want, I would tell my cousins, if you want to just have a date night or go out, call me. Like, I love it because I'm stressing out about work or whatever. And your kids don't care about what's going on in my work. They're like, they're not going to ask, so how's that deal going? They're like, hey, do you want to watch Thomas the Train? They're like, they don't care about my life, which was such an escape for me and such an amazing bonding. So you can enjoy other people's children in a way that you may not have thought possible. So just know there's tons of kids that need you. There's kids that need mentors. You can fill your life with so much joy while you are waiting for the person that you're meant to be with. So, but the person is not the end all be all. I was just telling a client that we would tell each other, like, I just feel like everyone I've loved before you feels like a fraud now because it's just on such a deeper level that I didn't even, if I would have known this is what it was supposed to be, I would have been able to dismiss all those other ones so much more quickly. I just didn't understand what the real deal was actually going to look and feel like. But if he and I only had our relationship and we didn't have anything else going on or any interests or things, then it would not be good. That we feed off of each other's minds that are exploring, and like we never have enough time in the day to discuss all the things. We're constantly up too late talking, and it's like, okay, we have to go to bed, and then we'll be like, are we going to watch whatever show? Right, we're trying to finish Love Is Blind right now. I've already watched it through because I didn't have the patience to wait for him, but it's like we have so much to talk about because we both had so many interests and still continue to explore interests. He even said to me, I never know what you're going to talk about on a day-to-day basis. Like, so it's something new constantly. He's like, I never would have expected somebody to just always have something different to talk about all the time. And I never realized that I was doing that. It was just, I'm just constantly interested in random stuff and I'm always going down other paths. It's just who I am. And so somebody else could be like, other guys have been like, man, you're just too high energy. You're too much. I just want somebody that's going to like be a mom and take care of the kids. And it's like, well, I could do that too, but that's just, do you see how like immediately somebody could have said that to me or has said those things to me and it would change. It changes how you see yourself immediately. And then it hurts a lot. The pain of rejection is so great when you want something so badly, yet you don't really know who you are. So you just know, I want this. It's like looking at think of a little kid that just wants a toy so bad because everybody else has it. And And then have you ever gotten a kid a toy and he wanted it so bad and then he just realized after he got it, it's not what he wanted. And I think that happens to so many people. This is how I want to help you diffuse the pain of rejection. 1, rejection is a gift because it's somebody that, 1, is telling you they are not ready for the kind of love you have to give. Almost every time I meet one of my clients for the first time, she is somebody that gives so much of herself. She's so full of love. She's so energetic. She's just a giver. She gives to her family. She will do anything for anybody. She loves deep. She is a romantic, and she just would do anything for the right person, for the person that, and she's just, I think that when I meet a lot of my clients, they would even take a guy that's even giving, half of what she's giving back just because she doesn't know how much she's really worth. And if that's you, I just talked to a client who's like, yes, I need the coaching and the group calls and just get in here and get the nourishment that you need. And I want you to let's go through this process of figuring out why is it that the pain of rejection is so high because you want something so badly, and then you're attracting the wrong guy, but there's a reason you're attracted to a guy that can't give you what you need. And this is the work we dive into with Gumball Love. So if he is attention seeking and you're not seeing that, or you're giving him, he seems great in the beginning because he was able to be happy, but what was making him happy? And that's what I dig in with my client. What makes this guy happy? Why did it seem good? Where did he stop being happy? And when you don't know how to connect those two, then you think it's you. It's like, wait, everything was great. We had great conversation. We had great dates. He was fine. Then all of a sudden he's not fine. What happens in that shift? There are people making millions of dollars. In fact, I will tell you a secret. For my whole career, I've been in the credit card payments industry. And I remember coming across, I won't say the name of the person because he's disgusting, but he was selling and still is selling ridiculous content about what happens when the guy makes that shift and what you can do to change him. Anytime you see content that's like, this is the one thing you can do. This is the thing you're doing wrong. And if you just switch this, that'll make him want you. Okay, what is this? Mind control? I mean, you're going to make somebody want you. But see, we think, oh, it's something I'm doing wrong. So if I just change those things, that same guy will want me. So when I look back at one of my biggest Gumball guys, there was nothing I could have done to change how he was responding to me because he would be happy only if I was feeding him the right kind of attention in the right moments. And even if I gave him the flavor that I thought he wanted, sometimes he would shift and want something different. And so I had to be able to predict that just right at the right time to then just get him to respond in a positive way. And it was such a roller coaster, and it would be so great in one moment and so bad the next moment. And I was riding this roller coaster, and it felt like, okay, when it was great, it would be amazing. And when it was low, it was just like, and I would see the pain he was going through, and I would try to be empathetic and be there for him through that and just survive, and never knowing, oh my God, this is not how it's supposed to look at all. But I didn't have anything else to compare it to. And so many of us are not exposed to healthy relationships, so we don't know what it is actually supposed to look like. So the pain of rejection is high because I'm just going to keep we're kind of ironing this shirt out. We're working on the same wrinkle. Why is the pain of rejection so high? Because I want something so badly. And I think if I get that thing, I'm going to be so happy. You feel like if I'm just engaged and I get married, I'm just going to be so happy. And I can tell you, I just got engaged. I'm getting married in July. And one of my last clients, she's like, yeah, but see, you had the happy end of the story. It's like, yeah, well, I've had to coach the majority of my career in Gumball Love with no guy, no engagement, no wedding at the end. And I just thought, yeah, now I can say that. But that's not the work I'm the most proud of, is getting to the point where I was happy single, where I felt like, you know what, if I have kids or I don't have kids, if I get married or I don't get married, I'm okay. And I have a life worth living, and I have a lot to contribute, and I have so much worth and value. And I started to really look at my friends and my family. And I remember when I met my dance community in New York, and I was able to be so grateful for them that I remember one of the dancers saying to me, because I said, this is such a special time in this studio. I don't know what's going on, but it just feels so magical. I was like, do you feel it? And he was like, he just stared at me and I was like, what do you think it is? And he goes, I think it's you. I'm like, what? And because I was just so excited and so grateful for all of them and so impressed with their careers and their dedication. And then every student, I was just like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you for learning how to do all these dances. And I was just so impressed with their ability to stick with it. And they knew steps. I knew no steps. It was like, wow, a song comes on and she just knows how to move her feet. And I would just watch their feet. And I just became like a super fan of the students and of the teachers and learning about their lives and being around all these Russians. I've never been around so many Russians, and they were just so funny and cool. And then it was like, we had 2 teachers that were, 3 from the Philippines. And it was like, we would end up talking about 80s movies. And it was just like, and then people from Ukraine. I know we have a special place in our hearts for people in Ukraine. Please have special places in your hearts for the Russians. Don't hate the Russians, as they are amazing people. We're all like, it's all the politics are corrupting our view of people, as the people are so wonderful. And I was like, oh man, I'm around the Russians and the Filipinos and the people from Ukraine and just all the students. And that's so what I miss about New York so much, is just all these different cultures and what we had common threads. And it was just like, I was so grateful and so happy. And so it created this energy in the studio. I had no idea, just because I was just so excited for everybody. And so that's the kind of stuff that is where my true happiness from the inside, that's where I learned how to make myself happy. And that was my thing. But I'm just telling you that's where, forget about the dancing, just where can you contribute? Where can you, what kinds of things can light you up? Maybe it's, I remember helping these little kids it was when I was in Omaha. I worked at a different bank, and every, Wednesday or Thursday, we would go to a school with kids that, it was a school in not a great part of town, and kids that needed help. And we would just come in and spend 1 hour with whatever kid the teacher told us, and we'd help them read, or I would help them with their homework. And it was just like, oh my gosh, these kids would look so forward to my coworker and I coming in and just helping them with their homework. And you're like, wow. So I know we feel rejected and I know we feel crappy, but it's like, that's the stuff I would do to get myself out of my head. Like, look, there are kids that are struggling at school and you can help them with their homework. There are dancers that are dancing and working so hard, and you can go in and be like, you are an amazing dancer. Even the best pros, they would be like, oh my God, thank you. They feel like they suck because they're comparing themselves to the world champions, and so you can be such a positive influence to people and contribute to the world in such a big way. And you do not have to be attached to a man. I know we can get so fixated on it, but I'm just trying to I remember even one time when I was still in Omaha before, I'm back in Omaha now, but when I lived here before, I actually went to a children's hospital and walked around because I was so in my head about some guy, and I was so sad. And I forced myself to go look at just walk by hospital rooms with sick kids in them to be like, look, you need to get over yourself. Look how, I know it's kind of dramatic. I don't even know why I did that, what made me think of it, but I was just trying to give myself the tough love. Dude, get over yourself. There's people that have way bigger problems. You need to we need to constantly look at and get that perspective so that we can be so grateful for what we have. And it doesn't mean we don't want the guy and the family and to have like, I don't want you to let go of that dream, but also don't underestimate your timing between now and then and what you can do and how much fun you can have and how much meaning your life does have. Because all of a sudden when you're on a date and you're doing things that you love, you're contributing, you're feeling so much connection to people and community and contribution, and maybe you're seeking or doing a passion, you're writing a book, you're starting a blog, you're starting that business, you're going back to school. When you start adding just a few things into your life like that, it changes how you feel on dates. And then some guy that's like, hey, so, can I come upstairs? You're like, it just feels like low energy. Bleh. It's not going to connect with you. But when we're feeling low and we're starved for that connection, then a guy offering any kind of connection feels so good in that moment. And he's not ready for a relationship at all, but we can't see it because we're just so caught up in, oh my gosh, he's texting me and we're having this amazing conversation. Yeah, it's a weird thing with chemistry. You can go through so many guys and then one person just clicks in a certain way. And then there's this tempo that starts and then it's this crescendo and then you can't wait to meet. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm attracted to them in person. And it builds and builds and builds. And then you're like me, when I met Ian the first time, I was a complete weirdo by the time I got there. I was like, who was that showed up? I don't even know, some weirdo. And, luckily I maintained composure so he would have a good memory of me. But, if I just wish I had video of that date, like, dude, calm down. It's just a dude, but I had built that up in my mind so much because I wanted that. I just thought I had such a fantasy attached to the outcome. And being married with kids is not a fantasy life. Go hang out at someone's house who's married and have kids. Do they look like they're living in a movie? No, they're dealing with their own problem. That comes with its own set of problems too. And it's only great if that person is the right person for you. So we feel the sense of desperation because we want the outcome. Then when we don't get it, it feels, so the higher the desire for that outcome, without the stability and the strength and the peace, the bigger the disappointment is going to feel because you have your expectations so high and your hopes so high, and you start creating the fantasy before you really understand the reality. That's when it starts. That's when that rejection hits you so hard because you immediately jump to the conclusion, this is the guy I'm going to marry on date 1, date 2, date 3. Sometimes we're doing it even before date 1. We're thinking about it in the conversation. We're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to meet you. I have such a good feeling about this. We have great chemistry. We're having so much fun. We can't wait to meet, there's like all of these things that build up to it. And then when something goes wrong or he ghosts, then you're like, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. Like there had to be some glaring thing. What is it? Am I ugly? Am I gross? Am I fat? Is my nose too big? Is it my teeth? What, did I have bad breath? Did I look like somebody he doesn't like? And there's a million things our mind, how your mind just races. And that is when okay, I am not in the right space to be dating. And a lot of times I encourage a lot of my clients when they're in that space to just take a break, because the only person you need to worry about when you're feeling like that is yourself. And I don't think we should just focus all on ourselves. I think part of focusing on yourself is also giving back to others, because that is what snaps you out of that mindset of the desperation to, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? I need to find somebody, because we have such a, our worth is so attached to the title of having a boyfriend, getting married, having a fiance, having children. Like that's your worth and value is so tied up. It's like this, oh my gosh, if I don't have this, I'm not worth anything. And the most important work that I would like to do with you is helping you see that worth and value, because the only way you're going to connect with the love that you actually truly are looking for is when you discover that worth before you meet him. That's why my motto is stop the cycle, discover your worth, find true love. We have to stop the cycle first. Okay? So right now, I am looking for the girls that are ready to stop the cycle. I'm taking on a few clients right now, so you can message me or you can set up a free discovery call. Go to my Instagram page, book a discovery call or book a free one-on-one. And it's just for us to sit down and chat and you can tell me what's going on, and then I'll tell you, okay, based on what you're telling me, here's how we will work through that. And then you'll decide if you want us to work together. No pressure. I'm never going to pressure you to work with me because I want you to feel like, okay, this is what I want. And I'm ready to invest in myself because I want you to see yourself confident, calm, peaceful, and feeling that sense of, I know what I want. I know what I'm looking for. I know I'm worthy of it. I'm enjoying my life. And I know how to answer questions when people ask, why are you single? How come you haven't met anybody? You no longer have that sense of urgency. You feel a sense of acceptance, like I accept where I am. I'm happy and I know, and I have positive and absolute expectation I will meet somebody. That person is coming into your life. And I'm going to teach you how to consistently realign yourself with that belief so that you aren't getting off track. And that's part of what coaching is for, is to keep you on track. That's why I offer group coaching along with one-on-one. That way we work together and then you go into the group where we still get in touch with each other. So if you could have a weekly call with me and then you have a weekly group call, so we're getting together twice a week, or you can space that out a little more, however we see fit for your situation. But it's touch points. It's constant reminders, because when we're feeling low, we're feeling that low confidence and we don't see our worth, you need those touch points. You need to stay on track. It's just like a workout program. Consistency is key. So the longer you stray or you stay on your own and you're on the apps and you're watching Netflix and you feel in that effed up place, sorry for lack of a better term, but when you just feel effed up and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. I feel like I'm hopeless. Everything I do ends up failing and I'm miserable. And I don't see how I can make that work. When you start coaching and you start getting around other women, they're like, yeah, I'm going through the same thing. And then you see other women start growing, you grow together, you build friendships. A lot of times you need people around you that are like-minded and also in the same situation you are. So that, if a lot of us, when I remember too, when I was single, I feel like you are my ideal client if everyone around you is in a relationship but you. You're probably like really ready to work with me because you feel like the last single girl or one of the last single girls. You feel awkward around your couple friends and you're like, I feel like the third wheel. It's because you're ready to meet somebody, but we just have to tweak some things and you need to stay on track and you need accountability. And look, you don't have to be embarrassed. I know a lot of people are embarrassed. They're like, oh God, she's going to think, I'm not going to think anything. I don't care if you're a prostitute. I don't care. I really don't. Like if you are a prostitute and you are dating the wrong guys, like I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care how promiscuous you think you are. I don't care if you have never had sex. I don't care if you're hooking up with a guy every other week. Like if you want to change that behavior, I'll take you however you are, because I don't get hung up on that stuff. I want to know what you want, and then I want to help you get there. Now, obviously, if we don't align, in certain areas, I will let you know. But if you want to fall in love, if you want to stop the cycle of sugar high romance, you want to stop this BS, like, thing you've been going through where you think you met the right guy and then you get your heart broken. He ghosts you. He turns weird. You find out he's in a relationship with somebody else and you can't figure it out. That's the cycle we need to stop. And I teach you how to do that. What do you look for? What does a guy that's actually not great, how do you see through it is basically what I was going to say, is when he looks great, but he's really not. What are the subtle red flags that you can look for? And sometimes coaching is about, okay, Melissa, let's say you're actively dating. You'll get to that part where it's like, okay, I'm not going to tell you to take a break forever, but I want you to take a break to breathe. Yes, you can get off the apps. You can get off the apps. You can get off the apps. Please take a break and get off of the apps. I mean, it's like if we feel this anxiety, like, oh my God, if I get off the apps, I'm going to miss it. It's like, no, if you don't get off the apps at certain periods of time, that's what's going to keep you single for longer because it's just not the time. But then maybe it is the time. So when it becomes the time, then I help you go through, all right, how was the date? Tell me what happened. We have girls in our group coaching right now. Gone on dates. What happened? This is what he did. Looked great. Okay, we're good. Up. Yep. Out. Second date. Done. And she cut it off, blocked, moved forward. And so that's what we want. And sometimes there's a period where you're like, okay, I hate that I had to just block that guy and move on. But you know what? He's not messing with your head. He's not lowering your confidence. And you might be home with your dog, your cat, or yourself, your bird, your rabbit, whatever you have. Not that kind of rabbit, or maybe that kind of rabbit, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you sometimes you're like, okay, great. I don't have a date. I'm by myself. But once you can get confident in that solitude and truly be confident in it. And I spent years trying to figure it out because it was like, okay, I'm really going to be confident and be single and not care about meeting somebody. And then I would be like pretending to do it, but not really doing it. And then I'd go through all these phases. It's like I finally figured out what I was doing wrong and how to really get in the mindset of the high value woman that doesn't lower her standards. She doesn't settle. She knows when to block. She knows when to delete. She knows when to go on a second date. She knows what to say and how to act on the second date. She knows how to sit and be comfortable in her own skin on those dates. All of these things are what you need so that you can enjoy the process. And you also need this so you can enjoy the guy that actually falls in love with you. Because even when you meet the love of your life and he will still marry you, but you can enjoy this so much more if you do this work. So what I'm saying is you could end up meeting the guy, he falls in love with you, you fall in love with him, but you spend a lot of that beginning part of your relationship being anxious, wondering what's going on, thinking he's cheating when he's not. I experienced this in the first few months of Ian and I, and we were long distance, but I worked out even more kinks in my own growth, and it gave me even more content to teach you. Like, okay, I see where, and really I had to fall so deeply in love to kind of see the areas that still needed work because they weren't being tested, because I wasn't feeling vulnerable enough. I had to fall that deeply in love to find those vulnerabilities. But now I found those vulnerabilities. So I want to help you even there. So when you meet the guy, you can relax, you can enjoy it, and your love can have a purity and a simplicity. So you don't have fights or say toxic things to each other that kind of corrupt that beautiful foundation and beginning, if that makes sense. And I am so grateful for that, because Ian and I have not had, we've had our arguments, we have things we've had to work through, but it has always remained so loving and so peaceful and so healthy. And this is what I want for you. And I want you to just walk away from this podcast and I want you to envision yourself in a healthy relationship. You're happy. You're doing your thing. He's supporting you doing your thing. He loves your family. If you have a dog or two dogs or cats or your pets, if you have a child or you have children, he's enjoying those things. He's a part of your life, and you aren't questioning yourself. You're not questioning his commitment to you. You are fully the woman that has become the best version of herself. And then guess what? There's more to come after that. Then you're going to level up. This is what I mean by level up for love. That's why my program is called Level Up, because now we're going to take you to a new level. And so we've got to let go of something lower to take a hold of something higher. And that's what I'm going to help you do, is let go of those things. All right. So are you out there? Where are you? Is it you? Is it you that's going to work with me? So if you don't want to go through the DMing of, if you're not on Instagram, send me an email, melissa@gumballlove.com. Remember, Gumball and love, there's 3 L's in a row. So gumballlove.com. Send me an email. Let me know. Hey, just say, I'd like to set up a free call, a discovery call. Or if you just want to jump in, we can jump in. But let's go through this together to see if we're a fit. If you've listened to my podcast more than, 2, 3, 4 times and you feel like you would get along with me, I'm pretty easy to get along with. But, if you're going to make an investment in a coach, you need to make sure it's a fit. I just made a huge investment in a coach. So I'm also doing it. Coaches need coaches. And for my business and for the content I deliver to you, I want to be the best coach possible. So I hired somebody that is absolutely outstanding to help me be the best version of me. So while I'm coaching you, I'm being coached on how to be better. So I understand the investment, but when we choose to make that investment, it is an investment in ourselves. And that's what I want you to always look at this. Whenever you invest in coaching or a program, if you've never done it before, you're really investing in yourself. You're saying, I am ready to level up. I am ready to put that money into me because that is going to take me to a different place and allow me to live a different kind of life. And that is powerful. You're going to live a different kind of life. I've seen it happen to my clients over and over again, where they come to me and they think they're never going to meet somebody. And now I have clients that are married, they have babies. I mean, I had the vision of women finding their true loves and having babies with their true loves, because I want to create a whole, love millions of babies born into parents that really love each other. So they never have to learn about fear of abandonment, attachment styles. You know what I mean? Like I want you to meet the person. You never even think about divorcing. You have happy, healthy, fat little babies that are just completely oblivious to anything other than pure love. And they just grow up with healthy attachment styles. And then they are attracted to other healthy people. And it starts, we stop also the generational curse, kind of like if we've had parents that maybe your parents are divorced, you haven't had a healthy relationship around you. We can stop that cycle that's happening because this is what we've seen. It's been passed down to us, but that's what my goal was. I wanted to go to therapy. I was like, okay, I got to know what's wrong here. I want to stop it. I want to turn it around, and it ends with me. So let this end with you. And you're going to be the mom to your children. If you already have kids, you still have time. I don't care if your kids are teenagers, even if they're full grown. When mom changes, it's a big deal. My parents have both had significant growth since I can remember. They've transformed. My mom's achieved her dreams. My dad's been very successful in business. He got to know the Lord. I mean, it's like amazing changes have happened, and they do impact you as an adult child. So don't underestimate what you're doing for yourself and how that will impact your children. And if you don't have those kids yet, they're also going to learn what mom did before she or he was born. They're going to be like, oh, wow. Like, think about it. You do kind of know, what your parents were doing. For at least most of us, you kind of know your parent, where they grew up, what they were doing, how they came to get their jobs. Like, your parents' story. So you're actually writing the book that your kids are going to read. So what is that going to say? And what do you need to do? And if you're stuck and you keep repeating the same pattern, I'm going to tell you right now, getting on a dating app is not going to solve it. That a new guy is not going to stop the cycle. Because even if the guy is great, you may not be ready for him yet. I know I wasn't. This is why when Ian and I met the first time, we both weren't ready for each other. And we liked each other. We were attracted to each other. But if we would have tried to keep dating at that point, it wouldn't have worked. But when we came back together, we were two completely different people. And that's why it worked. We both really knew who we were. And that's on podcast number 111 if you want to listen to our story. So this work is worth it because you are not only investing in yourself and in your future, but you're investing in the future you have with your partner and how healthy is that relationship. So if you want to be married, how healthy do you want your marriage? Because we're all fantasizing about engagement and marriage, okay? And I'm only going to be able to say this for 5 more months. I'm engaged, I'm getting married in 5 months right now. But what happens the day after the wedding? You know, I might be a weirdo for thinking that way, but I do. I think about the day, the moment I have to take my wedding dress off, and then I get into like pajamas and go to bed and wake up the next day and I'm married, right? You better like who you're married to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, a dress is just a dress. It's a meal and there's music and your friends and family are there. And look, I'm going to make it. This is going to be a good wedding. I'm so excited for everything we're planning, but I'm excited for the marriage because we have a blast every single day. And so that's just a highlight. It's a blip on the radar of a lifetime of adventure. So the person you want to be with is the person that is going to be the adventure. And you should be able to even sit in a room and kind of be in an adventure. I mean, we both work from home right now. And there's this, an email came in. We both work from home right now. And it's like, okay, you have to get out of here because I have to work. We'll be so tempted to just keep talking to each other. So you want the person you never can, there's never, the conversation never ends. And you enjoy their touch every time they touch you. Like, don't you want this kind of love? Because this is what I was not willing to settle unless I had all these things. I want what I want. If I can't have it, I figured out how to make a single life freaking amazing. So let's get you there step by step. Let's throw away the timeline. I know the biological clock is ticking. I know everyone's in a panic, but I'm going to teach you how to get through that in the best and healthiest way so that you feel ready and at peace and able to enjoy the whole process all the way through. All right, my love, I'm going to leave you there. Reach out to me, melissa@gumballlove.com. I can't wait to hear from you. Let's do this. Let's go on the adventure together. Until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening. If you want more information or to schedule a private coaching session, or better yet, to join the next Back to You Academy, go to gumballllove.com. If you loved this podcast, I would love for you to share it with your friends. And if you really loved it, a 5-star review is the best compliment you can give. Remember, you are enough, you are right where you should be, and the only thing you have to do is keep going. I'll leave you with my favorite quote by Henry David Thoreau. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams and live the life you have imagined. Until next time, I'll see you soon.